After Resident Evil 2, that game's director, the now famous Hideki Kamiya, was tasked to work on the next mainline game in the series, Resident Evil 3. But after that game got cancelled, Kamiya and his team moved to work on Resident Evil 4. But Kamiya's vision started to stray too far from the style that's expected from Resident Evil. So Resident Evil series producer, Shinji Mikami, convinced Kamiya to keep working on what he already has, but change the story to make it its own IP. While Mikami moves on to make 3 different games called Resident Evil 4. But that's a story for another video. And with that, Kamiya was able to flesh out his vision. And one of my favorite series, Devil May Cry, was born. This is what even was Devil May Cry. The story here is as simple as they come. You play as Dante, a sexy demon hunter running around with twin pistols, a sword, and a devil may care attitude. He is met by a woman named Trish, who immediately impales him. But right as she starts losing the fight, she's like, "I'm not your enemy, it's just a prank, bro, look," and takes off her glasses, showing she looks exactly like Dante's mother. And she guides Dante to Malay Island, where she claims Dante could get revenge on the death of his real mother at the order of the demon Emperor Mundus. That is basically all the story there is. Dante fights through the island, defeating demon after demon, fighting up the ladder till he faces Mundus himself. The mystery of who or what and how truly powerful Dante is the main hook. Like a survival horror game, the map here is semi-open, but at first being stuck to just a few rooms, requiring you to explore to find keys to open more of the castle. But here it's much more linear, having a mission structure instead, having 23 missions in total, which usually makes it clear where you have to go with the picture on the mission start screen. So you don't really get lost too much, except for the few moments where you can get confused on where to use an item you found if you didn't interact with everything. Backtracking is also mostly useless. The main reason to backtrack are the secret missions, which mainly spawn when going through a door that's not usually needed for that mission. I somehow only found one in my playthrough because I suck, and it was pretty much the American visiting Australia experience. The first clear of these always drop a blue orb, which is used to upgrade your health bar, so definitely do better than me and look for as many of these as you can. Blue orbs can also be found in fragments. Sometimes they're hidden in the most random places. I was so proud of myself when I got the first one first try. If you've played this game, you know this jump. There's also purple orbs, which upgrade your devil trigger, which I'll talk about later, and yellow orbs act as extra lives. And most importantly, red orbs. You can spend them in between missions or at divinity statues, on items, the other orbs I talked about earlier, and most importantly, skills. Red orbs are basically everywhere. You can find them on the ground, in objects, so you'll be smashing everything like a Lego game, and of course dropped by enemies. The amount of which is determined by the Devil May Cry staple, the style system. Devil May Cry is known for its stylish combat, and that's no different in the first game. All the attacks you have are super simple to pull off, most of them being one button, which timing your presses makes Dante perform different moves. Then by pressing R1, you will lock onto a single enemy, allowing you to 1. Shoot your various firearms, and 2. Lets you use directional attacks, which are still just pressing one button, but pulling back on the stick throws the targeted enemy into the air, and pressing forwards is a lunge attack that you have to unlock, but it should be your first skill you get, trust me. The style system is both more strict and less strict than the other games. It's less strict because you don't really have to vary your moves to make your rank go up, but more strict because it disappears very quickly, so you really have to be quick with your moves. There is still one more way you can extend your combo without attacking, and that's by taunting, which gives you a few extra seconds to prepare an attack again. Throughout the game, you'll be constantly unlocking new weapons, the first one being Alistar, which any other game will just have you pick up, but not in Devil May Cry. In this game, the sword flies off the wall, impaling Dante, who then rises from it through the handle, because he is that guy. With Alistar, you unlock your devil trigger, which is basically your super move. You become faster, stronger, and it heals you. Each of the melee weapons have a slightly different devil trigger. Alistar lets you fly and shoot lightning, destroying anything that crosses your path. Ifrit is the only weapon that completely changes your moveset, being about charging up your blows, giving you a ton of style points. I use this to blast through the annoying enemies of the game, and to get drowned in all the red orbs. And the Forced Edge, which is the definition of a starter weapon, it has no skills tied to it, so you'll be using Alistar and Ifrit through most of the game, especially since those are the 2 weapons you can swap between without a menu, until the very end where the Forced Edge turns into Devil Sword Sparda, the sword of the legendary Dark Knight who betrayed his kind and closed off the demon world, and Dante's father. The Devil Sword Sparda does a ton of damage, but it locks you out of Devil Trigger until the final boss, where the Devil Trigger increases the range of the sword a fuck ton, and changes Dante's ranged weapons into portable nukes. Dante also collects an arsenal of guns, starting with Ebony and Ivory, the guns I use the most, best for juggling enemies. Guns don't really boost your style rank that much, they are mostly support weapons to keep your combo going. The second weapon you get is a double barrel shotgun that Dante wields with one hand, because he is that guy, that blasts enemies away, dealing a ton of damage. Then there's the rocket launcher, which for me is the boss destroyer. At first it seems kinda useless because of the fire rate, but if you shoot then roll then shoot again, you can fire much faster, building a ton of Devil Trigger. And that's how I cheese every boss in the game. Just use your rocket launcher to build DT, then when it's full, use air raid, repeat. It's very strong. Then lastly, there's a spear gun, which is only usable in these weird underwater sections. These are the most out of place parts of this game. You get put in first person, and you fight enemies by clunkily locking onto them and spamming the shoot button. These parts feel very anti what this game tries to do, and I honestly forget they're in the game every time I play. Then I see the pop-up teach me how to swim, and I'm like, oh, not this shit again. Thank God they're so short. There's only like 2, but if they were in the game any more than that, I think I would hate them a lot more. But they're fine, just boring on replays to be honest. Hello, future me here. I realized I completely forgot to mention the weapon Nightmare. Yeah, it kind of sucks. I never used it in this playthrough because I'm a great reviewer like that. Anyway. Back to it. This game is super hard on the first playthrough, but it's never unfair. It's similar to a Souls game where it's difficult, but not in the way of being annoying, more in the way of making you want to be better. But also like Dark Souls, it's really easy to drop the game too quickly to reach the point of satisfaction. Or should I say motivation. Scum. You shall die. The first boss, Phantom, this giant lava spider scorpion guy, is an absolute noob destroyer. He's only about 30 minutes into the game, but that doesn't mean he holds back. He'll constantly obliterate you with fireballs and these lava geysers that you have to dodge repeatedly, and you're not able to hit most of his body because of his stone armor. There's been multiple times where I'm talking to someone and the topic of DMC comes up, and they say they played the first game but got stuck on the first boss, and I'm about to admit something. You ready? Don't think of me differently, alright? We listen and we don't judge. I dropped a DMC 1 my first time because of Phantom.
What the hell is this?
I know, boo this man. My DMC lore is I first played DMC 5 like a lot of people and absolutely loved it, and bought the DMC HD collection and went straight to DMC 1. Played up the Phantom, where I got my ass kicked and turned off the game. Then later in the day I found out DMC 3 was a much better starting point, so I played that instead. Then after beating that, which I also loved by the way, I went back to DMC 1 and kicked Phantom's ass. This goes for every game in the series, but every time you play these games, you learn something new. Sticking to Phantom as an example, when he shoots fireballs at you, you can deflect them right back into his mouth, dealing a ton of damage. You can also stand on his back where he has a weak spot, and during the second time you fight him, you don't even need to attack him. If he slams the glass a certain amount of times, it'll just break under him, sending him falling to his death. The second boss is this giant bird named Griffin. Flocka, Featherface, which is one of the most interesting bosses, having you dodge a million of these lightning bolts. And there's these platforms you can climb up to get close to him, but you can't go wrong with the old reliable, fuck yeah! Griffin and every other boss other than Phantom, you fight 3 times. Not 3 times throughout the game, 3 times in a row. Like you fight Griffin, then do a few levels, then fight Griffin, then do a few levels, then fight Griffin. Then you move on to Nightmare, who is this annoying blob of death, where you have to hit these switches with your sword to make him show himself, then wait for the weak spot to appear. It's as annoying as it sounds. He can also pull you inside him. Hell yeah. Pull me inside you, Nightmare. To fight one of the other bosses again. Nightmare is by far my least favorite boss. There's one boss that breaks the 3 in a row rule, and that's Nello Angelo, who acts as a rival of sorts in this game, who shows up throughout. This guy is a true test of skill. You can't really cheese him too much because he'll just block all of it. I started doing better at this boss when I stopped acting like a little bitch and fought him like a man, and that alone makes him the best boss in the game. You and him had similar power levels, so it's about pure skill. Playing DMC 3 first was rewarding with this guy too, because at the end, Nello Angelo is revealed to be Dante's long-lost brother, Virgil, who Dante thought was dead. These two need to share phone numbers at some point, god damn. They gotta stay connected instead of assuming the other's dead all the time. The final Nello Angelo fight is really cool, because he starts doing Virgil things like summon swords and stuff. It's sick. DMC 1 really feels like the sequel to DMC 3, at least story-wise. Technically it is, from a certain point of view, Obi-Wan Kenobi. The continuity here is great. It reminds me of Red Dead Redemption, how the story holds up even better now Red Dead Redemption 2 exists. If you've been paying attention and you've played DMC 5, you would have realized, Griffin, Nightmare, these are V's summons. But where's Shadow? Shadow is here as a mini-boss, who fucked me up so much the first time. You gotta weaken him with range attacks, then give his balls a little snip snip, so he stops humping you. I was so excited the second time when I fought him, because I kicked his ass that time. I felt like the gamerest gamer that has ever gamed. That leaves just a final boss, Mundus. So quick story recap. Turns out Trish was working for and created by Mundus, and she betrays Dante. But even after that, Dante still saves her life from a collapsing ceiling. And she's like, why would you do that, Dante? And Dante's like, cause you look like my mama, but fuck you cause you're evil. Then Mundus is like, you failed me, Trish, and ties her up for some reason. But Dante shows up and is like, Trish, no, don't hurt her, she's my best friend. Then when Mundus attacks Dante, Trish jumps in front of the blast, killing her. Then Mundus teleports you into space for the goofiest part of the game. My mind is blanking on the name of this genre. For some reason in my mind it's called Light Gun, but that's different, right? And your Devil Trigger turns into a dragon. Then after that, you get the true boss fight, which is pretty simple. You have to hit these orbs to build DT, then use it to hit Mundus. Once Mundus is defeated, Dante returns to Trish's body and delivers the greatest line in gaming history.
I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light.
Then bim bam boom, another Resident Evil style thing. Escaping the castle while timer counting down to the island exploding. But Mundus isn't dead yet, and Dante is on the back end. But Trish isn't dead, and she gives him her power, and Dante sends Mundus back to hell where he belongs. But how are they going to get out of there? There's no time. But not to worry, a plane falls in front of them. I wish I was joking. And they fly through the collapsing cave. I make fun of it, but it's honestly an amazing ending for this type of game. Even though a lot of the character growth is rushed, it's fine. And that's that. The game ends with Dante and Trish working together in Devil Never Cry. I'm so glad they changed it back to Devil May Cry in DMC4. Devil Never Cry is just stupid in my opinion. Obviously DMC3 wasn't written when this game came out, but the significance of the name Devil May Cry is so much better than the weird change to Devil Never Cry. But I love Devil May Cry. This is my second favorite video game series, just behind another Capcom series, Resident Evil. And the original game will always be special to me. The way it combines over-the-top action with survival horror makes it one of the most unique games in the series. There's been a lot of talk about a DMC1 remake online, but I don't know if I want something like that. What makes this game so special is how it's a product of its time, and I think making it more like DMC3 or 5 might take a little bit of the charm away, but that's Devil May Cry. This video should have been finished weeks ago. I planned to release it the same week as the new anime, but this month has been kinda chaotic for me. I still have a few personal things to finish up, and I don't know how long it'll be till the next video. But once I'm all sorted, I'm ready to focus on making the best videos I can. I'm also properly launching my second channel in the coming days, which is where I'll put some less important, not less important, but like, I didn't write this part down. I only realized I should probably talk about the second channel after I wrote the script. Is where I'm gonna put a bunch of like the lesser edited stuff, like reaction compilations, you know, stream highlights. The video I'm launching a channel with will be a playthrough of the Kendo Cut, which is a Resident Evil 2 mod. So look out for that video. And yeah, you can tell how like bad this got because I'm bad at like betraying my thoughts just from my mouth hole. But now you're hearing this because I'm speaking, and I now have to put it in the video, otherwise everything else won't make sense. But yeah, I'll see you all in a minute.